Hi, I'm Karen Keegan and this is Toree Diver, and this is our appraisal video role play for part of PBL1. I will be playing Lee Petty, the product manager, and Toree is my manager, Chris Amon.
All right, thank you for participating today. I guess this is a chance for two-way feedback for both of us, and I wanted to just apologise for the fact that we haven't had a review in 6 months. Obviously I've just come back and it's been 6 months since our last review, but the last review was very positive. You know, you got a 14% increase in your salary, and yeah, it was really good. The achievements that you've done over the last 6 months, I think you've done really well, and your group is performing the best out of the team. So how do you think you've gone?
Yeah, look, I agree, thank you. Thanks for the 14% increase, that was amazing. And yeah, I think we are doing a good job. We've met all of our metrics, you know, we've got an increase on brand awareness out in the marketplace. We've also managed to meet all of our deadlines. We've picked up some new clients, brand awareness has increased as well, thanks to a lot of the work that my team has done, and I've got a really good team of people. They put in a lot of long hours, they put in a lot of effort, and yeah, I think we're a good team. I think we do a good job, and yeah, things are going great at the moment.
Yeah, and it definitely shows. I think the company's very, very happy with that.
Good, thank you.
I guess what we want to talk about today as well is some observations in relation to taking on work. So in the last 6 months there's been some instances where you could have taken on work and haven't, as well as in relation to the things that may have affected the brand.
Are you referring to that? Look, I guess, okay, so you've been away for a long time. You've had a lot of time away from the office, and I feel bad about not taking on work, but we're so busy, and I guess if you're not in the office, you can't see what our workload is, and there's stuff that sometimes I feel like you're dumping stuff on us just because we're making it happen and we're achieving, and you know, I guess I had to say no. We do as much as we possibly can. As you know, we work really long hours, and my team work on weekends and after hours, and we're already doing as much as we possibly can. When the other teams approach us for work and we help them, they don't give us any credit for that. You never hear about the times we've helped them and all the times that, you know, we've done their job for them. They just run with it. We've never had that reciprocated. They've never helped us in return. So I suppose when I've said no to doing work, it's kind of because we don't get anything for that. We don't get anything in return. They don't acknowledge we've helped them. You know, and you're already giving us extra work, I feel, compared with what they're getting. So yeah, I feel bad that I say no to them, but at the same time, we can't take on more work. I just think that there's other teams that could pick up the slack.
Okay. I guess in relation to that, how do you think we could work a little bit better in relation to divvying up the work or helping out?
Well, I guess for one thing, maybe it's, look, you know what would work? Perhaps if we had some sort of a diary system that you have access to when you're away, so that you can see what we're working on and what our deadlines are, and you can actually monitor the workload from when you're overseas, because then, or you know, interstate or wherever you are, because at least then, if I feel like you're dumping something on us, I'll understand maybe a little bit better if I know that you can see what we're already working on, and you might be able to have that transparency and visibility to see that, yeah, the other teams aren't quite as busy, or they're doing smaller jobs that don't have as, you know, important deadlines or something. I'm not sure. Maybe that's one way of approaching it.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I've noted that down. Something that we can try and work on and see if we can get that in place. Another thing that I guess need to approach with you is in relation to the working hours of the team and having some consistency around the organisation. So there's been obviously some comments in relation to
other product managers, I bet.
Our teams.
Yeah, they're just trying to cause trouble. You know that we do the hours. We put, I've got professional people in my team. We're creatives. We come up with ideas and we know that when there's a deadline, we've got to get it done by deadline, and they'll put in however many hours they need to get it done on time. They're not just going to stop because it's 5 o'clock and go home. And unfortunately, the only way that I can work with them is to provide flexibility. Our policies are so inflexible and the vacation is so unreasonable. I can't achieve what the business needs me to achieve productively without allowing my staff to do a little bit of extra time. So what I do in return is I try and be flexible. I try and give them some blue time when they do the extra hours. Maybe the policies need updating to apply, to have some flexibility around that kind of thing. I know we've talked previously about vacation and how I really don't think it's fair. I think it's really unfair that you have to work for 5 years before you get more than 2 weeks off. It's just not sustainable, because the first 5 years of your employment, you're working really hard to try and make an impression and try and do a good job, and the reality is you get nothing in return. So from where I'm sitting, I'm trying to be flexible with my staff, and I'm just trying to keep them motivated and give them a little bit in return for all the hard work they're giving us, and surely that's reasonable. I don't know what to say. I just think that the other teams are jealous of what we're producing, and they're just trying to pick on us and find things that, to make us look bad because we look good.
I definitely take your points on board, and I probably don't disagree with that. I think that we just need to be very mindful of the way that it comes across in the organisation, because other managers are very strict with their teams and being consistent across the organisation with our work times. So maybe that's something that we can work on together to approach management about the points that you've brought up, and see if we can have some kind of review of that policy.
I think we need something, because it doesn't work. The policy applies to secretaries and admin staff who do need to be in the office between 9 and 5. Certainly does not apply to professionals and creatives who are putting in a little bit of extra creativeness, I suppose. I don't know. I don't want to say the secretaries aren't important, because they are, and they're the backbone of making sure that we put all our forms and expenses and things in. But the reality is that my team don't stop when the creative juices are flowing and they are absolutely in that zone. They're not going to stop just because it says 5 o'clock on the wall. They just keep going until they're finished. And I feel like we need to be able to compensate them for that in some way.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a very valid point. So yeah, I think we'll work together a bit more on that in the future to try and come to a resolution, and obviously be able to keep within some kind of consistency in that space.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
No, I mean, other than obviously the workload and the vacation, that I know you've already spoken to HR about it and they said they'd do a review, but something really does need to happen there, because it's getting more difficult. And I'm conscious that the other teams, I just feel like they're trying to find things to pick on us, and they're just trying to make us look bad because they know that we're doing such a great job. And it's getting to a point where I'm just worried that they are trying to set us up for failure. They're just looking for things. And look, something happened the other day, and I wasn't going to say anything, but given that, I feel like I need to tell you something, because I'm worried that if it doesn't come from me, it's going to get blown out of proportion. Mm-hmm. So the other day I came in on the weekend. As you know, I do that fairly regularly, and I was calling an agency, and while I was waiting to connect to the person I needed to speak with, I was just filling in time, and I happened to write a letter to my partner. As you know, my partner lives in Boston, and we don't get to see each other very often. So we tend to take advantage of long weekends, and if we can both be in the same place at the same time, we try and catch up then. He doesn't get very much time off. I only get 2 weeks off a year, so we try and make the most of capturing moments when we can. And anyway, the other day when I came in, I was writing a letter just talking about how I was looking forward to seeing him because he would go to the San Diego conference as I will. And I was mentioning how, some of the things that we might be able to do and tagging on maybe a day at the end, and just talking about some stuff that we could do while we were in San Diego. In any case, I had half written the letter and my pen just was mucked up anyway. I threw it out, didn't think anything of it. And I'm just worried because when I came in the following day, I think that someone might have been in my office, and I think that if they saw that, what was in that particular, on that particular piece of paper, that they might take it the wrong way, blow it out of proportion and make it sound like it was something that it wasn't. So I just wanted to let you know that I think someone is definitely trying to sabotage my team, and I think someone is definitely out to get me, and I don't know who that is. But I'd like that to be looked into because I'm starting to get worried that it's going to impact on my career.
Okay. Well, I can let you know that it was me that was in your office. I came in on the weekend also and was looking for something and happened to pick up a piece of paper out of your waste bin when I needed a piece of paper to write on, so it was just scrap paper. And so I was starting to write on it and then realised that there was stuff on the other side and looked at it and went, maybe I shouldn't be seeing this. So yeah, that was me. That was me.
I just wanted to let you know, what was on that was not actually what I ended up sending, because what I had written was an initial kind of, look, let's face it, when we go to conferences, everyone knows that people don't go to all of the sessions. You probably did it when you were in my seat. And the reality is that I had said something on there that I realised wasn't really appropriate, and I thought it might put the company and me in bad light. And I've only been with my partner 6 months or so I didn't want them to think that I was, complete, just someone who takes opportunistic, I guess. So I actually threw that out, but I rewrote it. So what was thrown in the bin did not go to my partner. And it's not, even though it looks like it might have been what I had intended, it wasn't what I ended up sending to my partner. So even though I probably would potentially have not gone to all of the sessions, I know that letter would have made it look bad, and I know that's the wrong thing to do.
And it was definitely concerning, reading something like that. And it's all, I guess, something that, we want to have a chat about in relation to, the conferences that you do go to, and what you get out of them. Obviously, it's a little bit of a surprise that this one was as of interest to you, but, I approved it anyway because it's something that you wanted to go to. And I think that maybe for future conferences we can set up something where you can, have some networking opportunities, and we can talk about, what you're going to bring back from the conference, what ideas or things that you think would be good from that. What do you think about that?
Yeah, look, I'm quite happy to do that. As I said, there will probably be some sessions that I don't go to, but I do for the most part go and listen to what there is to learn, because I know that it's important to get that knowledge. So look, I'm happy to put a report at the end of each conference. Just put a report forward on what the company could gain from it, or what the learnings were that I can bring back to the company. Whether or not it's something that we would implement in the company, I don't know, but at least I can provide some sort of a report. And it would be nice if the other product managers did that too when they go to conferences, so I don't feel like it's only me that's doing the work again. It would be nice if everyone had that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's something that we can implement across the board, and just so we make sure that these conferences are worthwhile for people. Awesome. So I guess we've had a chat about all of that. I want to thank you definitely for participating in today's appraisal. I think that there's a great team environment and culture within your team, and obviously that is showing from the results and the performance that you have, your results. So to, I guess, just recap what we've spoken about, the calendar system for work is a good idea, so that I have visibility of, your deadlines and can be mindful of the work. that you're doing before I start, you know, trying to give more work out. The policy and review of hours, I think that's something that we can really work together with, and you know, maybe even influence the business a little bit more in keeping up with some times of, you know, around flexibility. We want our product managers to be happy and performing, so if we can give that a little bit, you know, that's something that we can work on together.
And if that becomes something that the whole business can use, the other product managers might benefit as well and stop trying to sabotage my team and make us look bad for no reason.
Yes. And then back to the conference with the going through obviously how those conferences can contribute to the business and our learnings, and like you said, you know, you're willing to give a report, so you know, that would be really, really helpful.
Sure, okay, cool. Are we going to catch up within not 6 months again?
Hopefully 3 months, hopefully there's no more trouble. And I think, you know, just keep up the good work, it's not going unnoticed. And yeah, you know, keep that good work up.
Awesome, thank you.